to you as an audience about FGM and the importance of it. So my name is, and thank you very much ladies for promoting me, I'm not the Chief Superintendent, that's my boss. So my name is Superintendent Sam Millar. I'm an operational police officer, but the role that I undertake in Leeds is sat down alongside council colleagues in Leeds City Council, working in very much a superintendent role but in partnership. So I have around about 500 people who work for me who are largely Leeds City Council, probation, West Yorkshire Police, prison service, a whole range, and health colleagues as well. And what that does in Leeds is give us a unique opportunity, and I find my role incredibly exciting in terms of, for the first time ever really, we are dealing with some of the most fundamental issues that present our society, and that Leeds is a reflection of that. It presents us with an opportunity to do things truly coordinated and in partnership. And I certainly know from a police point of view that we in the past have dealt with things pretty one-dimensional at times. So the opportunity to be in a city the size of Leeds, with the challenges we have, but to be working in true partnership, I think it shows that we're ready to make progress. So that's the first thing I'd say in terms of why me. So I stand here with very much an operational police officer with all the understanding and the challenges that brings, but with a real understanding and an opportunity to make a difference from a partnership point of view. What I would say to you at the moment is there's a huge opportunity in Leeds. My organisation, West Yorkshire Police, have made a fundamental shift in the last 12 months. And the focus has gone really from some of the very traditional and core crime focus that you would imagine to a massive safeguarding focus. Now I can't tell you the cultural shift that we've had to go through in order to get there. But what that means then, I truly believe, and that's why I say it to you today, that we've probably at the first time ever got an opportunity to get momentum around some areas like FGM that we probably never had before. Because I think if I stood here 12 months ago talking to you about FGM, most people wouldn't have even heard about it. So the fact that my organisation, and therefore I can sit at the head of a partnership and say that we are absolutely focused on safeguarding, I just can't tell you in my 20 years of service how exciting that is. And that gives us today an opportunity. What you can't get away from though is the scale of what safeguarding in this city looks like. And I would say, and I'm trying to be quite risky but quite open with you today, that I think FGM is pretty invisible in this city. When I started to look at some of the profiles that have been sent through to me over the last few days, just to give me a real statistical understanding of what this city looks like, you know, if I tell you some things like the absolute certainty is that around about 2,500 to 3,000 females in this city will have experienced some degree of FGM. And do you know how many got reported to us last year? 5. Do you know how many we've prosecuted? None. Okay, so in terms of the scale for the city, it's absolutely huge. And the worry is it's invisible. So I think the challenge for us today is to talk about how do we make it visible, but I'll talk about that in a second. Again, a couple of other statistics that I think are really powerful. The vast majority of FGM happens to females between the ages of 5 and 8. And again, I have to say it again, the vast majority happens between 5 and 8. That's our children in this city and the risk that is posed to them. We also know the top 20 communities in terms of ethnicity of where it happens and where it's highly likely. So I was looking at the stats yesterday, which again, it doesn't really matter which ethnicity it is because we can get into that detail when we unpick it. But you know, we've got ethnic groups in our society in Leeds today where 98% of the females between the ages of 15 and 49 will have had some form, some type and scale of female genital mutilation. 98%. And my question, when I read that, I said to myself, what about the children in those groups? What are we doing as a city and as a partnership and as a set of services and as communities to understand potentially the risk that poses to our children, let alone adults and young girls who are growing up? I give you those statistics not to cause anxiety, but I just think, You know, when I read things like that, the scale of the challenge of trying to deal with something like that, that is an invisible crime, is absolutely fundamental. So today, if you have any conversations, I'm going to ask a few things of you. Sat in the audience, you will all have your skills, knowledge, experience, and you'll come from all different, agencies, community groups. We've got to take some risks. We've got to be prepared to try things that perhaps we couldn't have tried a few years ago. And that's why I thought it was important to say to you, never has the time been better to look at safeguarding and to try and tackle some of the really difficult safeguarding issues. And I think we've got probably the most single difficult safeguarding issue around FGM because it's invisible. And I certainly know that as an organisation, I can't put my finger on any activity that is showing that we are proactively going out to try and deal with the risk that poses our females, let alone our children in Leeds. And the biggest thing, more than anything, is all of those things are important because right at the minute, and Dita said it to me again as I walked in the door this morning, if she compares where we are today from where we were 12 months ago, the momentum that we've gained in the city to be prepared to have a conversation about FGM is absolutely huge. Now, I don't have a massive sense that we're on our way on our plan. I think the plan is now. My sense is, and if I was to reflect anything, is I think we've opened the lid. I think people recognise and know what FGM is about, as horrendous as it feels to sort of know that detail. And I think knowing the scale of it is really, really important. So today, my absolute request of you is you've got to know that you've got complete commitment of organisations like West Yorkshire Police, like the Leeds City Council, like the services we talked about. I'm certainly completely and utterly dedicated and passionate that we make some inroads to it. And I sit in a partnership that is willing and ready to take this sort of issues on. So don't think any idea today is mad, because any idea probably has got some valid truth behind it. Don't limit yourselves thinking, oh, we can't do that because there'll be constraints. I tell you what, we've got to be ambitious. And let's go for it. Let's keep that momentum going around FGM. The biggest thing we do is keep the momentum and make it a much more visible crime, then I think then we can start to unpick how do we deal with it. But please don't underestimate the challenge that that's going to face us as a city and the scale of it. So, I just wanted to say those words, if that's okay. Samantha, do you want to pass on to the next person? I will until lunchtime. Okay. Well, I was about to say, if that's okay, I had a thought about what I'd like to say in terms of from a police and from a partnership. Does it prompt any instant questions? Does it prompt any thoughts? I'd love to sort of open it up for discussion if we've got a little bit of time, if that's okay. So, first hand is down here.
I would make a comment. I am representing Leeds Community Health NHS Trust. And one of the things that, and we work with women from all areas, and we are in close partnership with the police. One of the things that has been quite evident now is that the time of conversation, we believe, is over. And I think it's time to start the action. And I can start by saying that there is no FGM clinic in Leeds, not at all. We have one for antenatal patients, but we have a huge, profound group that, as like you said, 90% are who are actually have got FGM or are, I'm not talking about children, I'm talking about women who are our core patient group. And there's no, once you see an FGM, there's no treatment, there's no facilities in Leeds. I know other cities have set up FGM. And I want to put it forward to the delegates and the audience in this group, isn't it not time to set up an FGM clinic in the community? And that would be a good start, and I would be prepared, or we as a service would be prepared to go forwards with that. But we want support and a pledge that is the way to go.
Could everyone hear that at the back as well?
Sorry.
Did you hear what was said then? Yeah? Okay, great.
So just a little bit of summary there from our colleague from the NHS, and the comment really was, in a city the size of Leeds, from an NHS provider, there is not currently an FGM clinic in this city that deals with that. And that doesn't feel right. In the millions of people that work, live, transit in and out of this city, that can't be right. What would say in terms of that is, and can I use a parallel here? At the moment I'm heading up a breakthrough project on behalf of the council, and it's very much a breakthrough project around domestic violence and abuse. And when we sat as a group of colleagues and partners looking at, what are we going to do, domestic violence and abuse has been in our society since we began. And it's about uncovering it, trying to get the true scale of what it is. But what we didn't want to do is just to respond and have a better response once it's happened. And in some respects, providing a clinic, incredibly important for dealing with it, for the education, that's critical. But from a domestic violence point of view, we weren't just interested in just providing a